Podcast. I'm Steve Zaki, and joining us, Franklin, Wisconsin's own Sam Mayer. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I believe this is going to be your first time at the Milwaukee Mile. How excited are you finally to race here?
I haven't raced there in my life, but I've seen one race there, and it was when my dad raced Indy Light down there a couple of years ago. But yeah, it's super exciting to go there for the first time, considering I should have raced there, should have been there a bunch in my life because it's literally 10 minutes from my house. But finally getting to race there in the ARCA series is giving us a really good opportunity to go and race there at a place that hasn't really been active too much as of late. So I'm really excited for it, really looking forward to it. And it's definitely a busy weekend for me, that's for sure.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate what Bob Sargent, Track Enterprises, is doing and bringing racing back to the Milwaukee Mile. They were back there last year, and then again this year with the ARCA Menard Series and the Sprecher 150. Tell us the biggest difference, though, between driving an ARCA car, which you've had a lot of success with, and driving a NASCAR Xfinity car.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of differences, especially in the bigger track stuff like the Michigan Speedway and all these other mile and a half that we race at in these cars. But on the short tracks, it's all just four tires and asphalt. So it works out pretty well that I have all this short track experience, especially going into like Martinsville, Bristol, and Richmond, and all those tracks like that in the Xfinity car, because I've been there before, whether it be the truck or the ARCA car. So it definitely works out pretty well for me, and I'm super excited to go to Milwaukee in the ARCA car because NASCAR doesn't go there, and hopefully it puts on a good show. And NASCAR is like, hey, we should go there because that would be pretty neat to have NASCAR right in our backyard again.
Totally agree with that. We'd love to have NASCAR back as part of the Milwaukee Mile on the schedule. You're part of the Chevrolet development program. How does that work with assisting drivers with the driver's career, and how have they been helpful with your career?
It's huge. Like, I probably wouldn't be close to where I am today without that program, purely because the partnership with GMS and Junior Motorsports has kind of given me that pathway all the way up to where I am now, the Xfinity Series. Because originally when it was first made, I was at the late model program at Junior Motorsports. And the only reason I really got in on the program in the first place was because I was over there. And so that brought me over to GMS doing the ARCA and the truck stuff, which again in itself was a huge part of my career. And the amount of success we had at that level and are continuing to have is definitely huge for me because it's kind of giving me that momentum to go up into the Xfinity Series with Junior Motorsports again.
Yeah, it seems like some drivers, the learning curve is a little bit sharper than others when it comes to going from a light car from a late model to go into the heavier car that you see in ARCA and the NASCAR series. Then with that transition, you seem to jump into it with no problems. Is there a reason for that, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've jumped into things and it always took me like probably 2-3 months of racing to get the hang of it and get going and start to haul the mail. But like with the ARCA stuff, like I had really good people around me and we jumped in it right away and had success. So and that's a huge part to GMS too, because they got all new stuff. They got pretty much built a whole new team for me from scratch for the ARCA stuff. And that was a huge part of my career over at GMS as well, is because all that equipment that we used is now being used for the GMS program over there as well as still. So it's a big part for me. It makes me feel good because we definitely did everything right. We just got to keep continuing to do everything the right way.
Talking about GMS and that, you were quick right away. Drivers people were saying, look at Sam Mayer, this guy's really good. And, when a young driver is in a quick car, I don't want to say it's easy, but it seems like it's a lot easier. I always said, though, the race that really impressed me as you were coming along was the ARCA race. I believe in 2019 it might have been, where you didn't have the fastest car, but in fact, the car wasn't handling well at all, but you brought it home, I believe, in a top 5 finish. And I thought it was one you really showed your maturity as a driver. Remember that race at all?
I mean, we've had a couple of those races where GMS and Marty Lindley, the crew chief, had a really good piece for me to race. But when it came down to the closing laps, like the tires were wore out because the setup was too aggressive on it, or we just missed the setup on the track at the adjustments on the brake or something like that, whereas I didn't give them good enough feedback. But we still managed to get good finishes because the equipment we had was really good. But also because I was able to learn so much during that race and kind of soak in the information and learn as we go. And that helps me towards the end too. And that's a huge part in the Xfinity series too, is learn how to pass at all these big tracks where aerodynamics is huge. Because then you can test out, okay, this worked how to pass, and then this one got me shucked out of line, and I lost 3 spots to try to make one up. So it's that helped me develop a lot, and that's going to be huge at the mile too, because passing is probably going to be pretty tough, just because it's one lane right around the bottom, and the second you get to the inside of someone, they might roll the top on you, and you'll lose your momentum and maybe lose a spot or two. So it's the same idea, just on a different level.
Yeah, and it also seems to me like young drivers like yourself, with so many road courses being added to the schedule, really seem to excel on it. Why do you think that is?
I mean, when you say young drivers, you're probably talking Ty Gibbs and me and
Sure.
all these other guys that have raced go-karts in the past.
Hmm.
Like Sheldon Creed, he did stadium trucks and stuff like that, and that's all road racing where you turn right and left. And a lot of these veterans haven't really done that too much outside of the actual NASCAR racing. So we kind of have that advantage on them. We're used to it and everything like that. Like me and Ty raced go-karts back in the day that we've been brought up the same, pretty much the same exact way. So that gives us an advantage on the road courses, and that's where we shine.
Where if you're able to win on Sunday at the mile, how would that stack up in your career so far?
That'd be up there, especially after the year we've had so far, with all the bad luck we've had. I mean, it feels like we've had the whole kitchen thrown at us
Hmm.
over the last couple of months, but we're definitely looking forward to turning it around. And there's really no better place to do that than the mile.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Don't forget, that's August 29th at the Milwaukee Mile, the Sprecher 150, brought to you by Track Enterprises. You can go to trackenterprises.com, or you can actually go, will call tickets too. Just come on up to the ticket window at the track on Sunday, and you can come on in and see some great ARCA racing at the historic Milwaukee Mile. One more for you. Other than your dad, who's your best buddy at the racetrack right now?
Oh man, there's a lot of really fun drivers around there, and I mean Noah's definitely up there because the Xfinity side is definitely pretty tough and challenging and everything like that. So he's been trying to hype me up because we've had been down the last couple of weekends, but he's been hyping me up, being ready to go. And with him, we've been showing speed together, and hopefully we can tandem up to the front at Daytona this weekend.
And what car are you driving this weekend?
I'll be in the Junior Motorsports number 8 car this weekend.
The number 8 car. All right, look for the number 8 car at the front of the field this weekend at the Milwaukee Mile for the Sprecher 150. Sam, we certainly appreciate you taking time out, and look forward to seeing you this weekend.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Sam.